probably nobody watching this live, but it's my first time ever going live. And so, doing a little video for you guys, Simon Rose. Now you might think, why you keep doing these on a little truck? Well, because I'm not around my big truck. My big truck ain't running right now anyway. But the AC system on the big truck is really the same as on the small vehicle. So we want to talk about some of the parts, because a lot of you drivers out there are not mechanical. And so this is your AC compressor right here. And you notice on this particular AC compressor, we have a high pressure switches right here. Oh wait, I got my finger in front of me. The high pressure switches right here. All right. This thing is not turning right now. That's the clutch. And the reason why it's not turning, or just started turning, is because of this high pressure switch. Your high pressure switch senses the pressure on the high side, which is related to the heat and pressure that builds up here in the condenser. Condenser being in front of the radiator that regulates the heat of the engine, of the vehicle. But the condenser is the hot side of the air conditioner, right? And so this will go on and off. If the pressure raises up too high, that high pressure switch will turn it off so it doesn't bust, or it doesn't create a problem. And come over here, we're looking at the dryer. We're looking at the low side connector. We're looking at the low pressure switch. In here you have an orifice tube. Right here you have the high side connector. Now the orifice tube or expansion valve is where the high pressure becomes low pressure. So up to this point, we have high pressure pumping in, and then it goes through a very small orifice and it expands. And in that expansion, it rapidly cools. And that's how it goes cool into your evaporator core on the inside of your truck. And then it pumps all the way back around. The compressor, pumps it all the way back around, and the whole process repeats itself. So it's a closed system, and the only time that you need Freon is if you got a leak, right? So let me show you my gauges. Well, first of all, let me show you the end on my gauge. This is my low side connector. Now I got R12 gauges. Now, if you're driving a big truck, or anybody watching this video, buy you some good gauges, man. Good gauges don't cost that much. And you might as well get you some high pressure gauges. Now, I'm not an AC man or anything like that, so I may make a mistake in some of the stuff that I'm telling you, but these are my gauges, right? And I'm showing a little bit of pressure on there, but I don't even have it hooked up, so it's probably coming from this can that I got on the deal. But buy you some good gauges so you can, when you hook up, you know what's going on. Let me see if I can get this. All right. A good pair of gauges nowadays, I would suggest that you get some high pressure gauges. You look on here, you see where there's a lot of different numbers being represented in this turn here. Now the blue is R134. The R is R134a, and then below that we have just PSI around the edges of it or whatever. And at the top we have a green circle there. That's R22. Now that's dealing with you know, the what do they call it? The dew point or something like that. I don't read the gauges by any of those different things. Strictly PSI. So I like to know what should a high side pressure be on whatever type of system I'm working on, and what should the low side pressure be on whatever type of system I'm working on. The red side is the high side pressure. The blue side is the low side pressure. Now, son, go over to that van over there and get me that can that's got like a hose hooked onto it. So I'm gonna hook these gauges up. I'm not gonna put any Freon in this system because it don't need any Freon. Probably can't tell, but this thing is really sweating real good. I mean, I've always had good air conditioning in this truck. Let me see if I can show you something here. Okay, you see that down in there on the high side? It looks like a little black piece or a black ball. Inside of there, it looks like the same little straighter valve that goes inside of a tire, the nipple on a tire, where you put the air in. That's gonna always be your low side. Now on this one, the low side diameter of the pipe is the same as the high side where it starts. But once it gets inside of once it goes inside of the truck there, it expands even more. So I don't know exactly where it's got to be right here though, anyway, where the expansion is starting to happen right here. This has to be at a lower pressure than right here. So with this, you just press it on. Now I'm showing 20 PSI. I could probably get away with putting a can in there, but I'm not gonna, because it works good. There's no reason to. Usually on the pressure, somewhere between 35 and 45 PSI on the high side, on the low side, is good, okay? But it also has to do with how hot it is outside. So on a hot day, if you had, let's say 40 PSI, and you were thinking, oh, well, I need to get it to 45 or 50, you know, I wouldn't add any more Freon on that day, because it's so hot outside, the vehicle is so hot that it's gonna raise your pressure anyway. You take that same vehicle at night when everything is cool, you're gonna have a different pressure reading. Okay. Now you see it's drawing it down real good. I don't know if you got to see when it started, but when it started it was like 40. And then it pulls it when the compressor pulls it all the way down to 20 something, and now it's going back up. You see, that's the compressor turning on and off. Now look at the high side pressure. The high side pressure is 150. 150 to 250, depending on what the low side pressure is. That's your difference that you're looking for. No, well, this is cool too. So inside of the van, there's a bag. And in that bag, that's one of them cans that you buy from the store that's already got a hose on it. Okay, if you get you a good set of gauges, is gonna cost you about, I would say probably about $70. You get them on eBay. You know, this Yellow Jacket brand is a good brand. Do a little research. There's some other good brands out there. Right now, I can't think of the name of them. But this can clamp, stay away from this. You know, I bought the can clamp. I don't like it. I much prefer this deal here. And I had to get an adapter for mine to make it go on to this R12 hose. But if you get the if you get the R134 hoses, they're gonna have this already built on there, and that's all right if the only thing you're gonna work on is cars, you know. But if you want to put a little Freon in your refrigerator or an AC at the house or something like that, it's better to have gauges that will let you work on anything, and you just have the adapters. These adapters cost anywhere from $10 to $20 on eBay, and the hose screws onto the adapters. I've been running them for years. I love them. They work good. Okay, so a lot of y'all buy stuff like this, or you buy it's got like a little gauge on it or something like that, and you spend, you know, $30 to $50 buying this. I'm gonna say this: if you don't plan on buying good gauges, or you don't have access to good gauges, when you need some Freon and you need to run it, then get the setup where you got a can tap, you got a single gauge, and then you've got a hose that's separate from the can, and you can always screw it onto these cans. These cans are always cheaper to buy than this deal here. You know, I just bought this because it was at a time when my adapter was broken, and I needed to get some Freon into a vehicle, and I couldn't buy an adapter right then, so I bought this deal here. But this was like $20-something, $24 or whatever, you know, and it's pretty much a one-time use. But this fits on the low side, only on the low side. So you folks that are trying to make it work on the high side, this can don't have enough pressure to go in. Like you see right now, the pressure is running at 175, you know, a little over 175, 180. You know, this can don't have enough pressure to push that in there. So let's say you want to put some Freon in your vehicle, right? Now, if you put, son, turn the truck off. I want to show them something. Now, I want y'all to remember where this pressure was. Watch how that pressure's climbing. The vehicle's not running. Sound like I got a little leak back here. I don't know what that is. But anyway, the pressure is climbing. Like if I showed you on my other vehicle where I'm not gonna go that deep with it, but with the vehicle off, the pressure would be like 70, 75. You know, so you can't unless you have vacuumed the system down, you're not gonna put Freon in if the compressor is not turning, if the vehicle is not running. All right, vacuuming the system down, that's a whole nother video. But go ahead and turn the vehicle back on, son. Okay, well, you probably heard it clicking. It just come on. You see it pulling it down? Okay, so when you put your can on there, that's what you went and bought. You find your low side, and that's the only place where it's going to be. If you got an international, you know, this might actually be on the passenger side, underneath the cover on the outside of the truck, or somewhere like that. It might not even be in the engine bay area. You may only have the high side connector in the engine bay area. I got a Columbia, and on mine they're all in the engine bay area. And, I'll do a video on that. But anyway, when you put this connection on here, and you look at your pressure, You let it run. If it's sweating and everything, you might not want to add anything. You know, but definitely never fill it up over 45 or 50 psi. 50 psi, absolute max. You know, that I would go in the system. Watch your gauge, pump it in, and vehicle needs to be running, compressor needs to be turning. And then I told you guys about this little switch right here. I'm not gonna take it off because I really don't want to be, you know, playing with it. I just refer you to the video I did on Facebook Live where I showed you one off. If the compressor won't turn on, but you're sure you have power going to the compressor, then you can put a jumper in on this wire here. And there's probably some other videos on YouTube that show you how to do that. And that'll force the compressor to start turning and pull the Freon in while you're trying to put Freon in. You know, once you get it in, you put this back on, and it still won't turn, you got a bad switch, which means you're gonna lose all that Freon anyway. All right. Love y'all for free. Through rambling. A lucha continua every time. Peace.